Hello! Pull up a chair and join us in the Alcove, here with episode 74 of our homebrewed 5th edition D&D campaign, the Chaoslands.
16 minutes for this one.
Before we start, we have a handful of quick announcements, so let's go through those and then get started with our very impactful, very narrative-heavy session. We upload recorded VODs of our game to YouTube, and if you're watching this, that's likely where you are. If you aren't, you can find us on youtube.com/@THEALCOVE at the Alcove. If you like this video, please click the like button down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button and you'll be notified when our next video goes live. If you want, you can also go and follow us on all of our social media accounts. Or don't, because social media is a hellhole, aside from Blue Sky, so you can follow us on Blue Sky.
We have that now.
We have that now.
I don't think we have that, but
No,
and
we
can,
set it up.
there you go.
we can stop using all of our other things.
A fake
just,
app, don't worry about it.
just Blue Sky. Yeah, we're going to hopefully start putting more and more stuff on there again, as we used to before. We use a variety of background music to improve the ambiance of our game and stream, and you may recognize some of it from Critical Role's Welcome to Taldore, Welcome to Wildmount, and Candela Obscura collection albums, as well as some royalty-free music courtesy of Riot Games. Links to those can be found below. That's all from me.
Mm-hmm.
You all ready?
For this?
Yeah.
Let's dive into the Chaoslands. After arriving in the wreck state of Sylvia, deep within the Etherglass Desert, the Iron Will found themselves caught in a web of machinations and fate, leading to the party being split apart as they searched for answers and a way forward. Kaltir, Astra, and Tynan, in an effort to keep Kaltir away from Lady Garnet, who was holding someone dear to him captive, decided to visit the Library Malaria, and learned that Karis Myrna, an ancient elven vampire lord, is also here in the city, putting whatever plan he has to work from a shady underground lounge known as the Dark Regret. Meanwhile, Arkmir and the Big One visited the Gilded Oasis, a hotel and lodge reserved for the upper class of Silthia, as well as political guests and dignitaries visiting from abroad. Here they encountered Lady Angelica Garnet, who introduced herself as Arkmir's sister, and forced him to choose between his friends and his family, bringing out some prisoners that she had brought with them. Kaltir's friend, a stranger, and a small child. As Arkmir moved to strike down the child, another prisoner, a holy man of sorts, but seemingly trained in the use of a blade, lunged in the way of the strike to keep the child safe, leading to a chaotic scrum as the pale elven prisoner used the opportunity to leap off the balcony to safety. An intense and fiery battle ensued with Lady Garnet's ally, who had been going by the name Salvir, revealing his true nature as a great flaming devil known as Infernus, working alongside Garnet herself to try and capture Arkmir and bring him to the Nine Hells. However, with some quick thinking and use of the knock spell to free the strange elven prisoner, who turned out to be a fairly capable wizard in her own way, the group turned the tide of battle, causing Lady Garnet to flee and defeating Infernus.
Forgot about that. She got the kill on Infernus.
Yeah, she cheated.
With the prisoners retrieved,
Missiles.
including one very traumatized small child, the group made their way to the orrery, a meeting spot established prior to the party splitting up. It was here that they learned the unknown significance of this building, as Astra's staff seemed to react to it and grant them access to the hidden chambers within. Within these chambers, you discovered a strange sort of teleporter that took Astra to an upper level, a strange sort of space held within time, with strange runes carved on the floor, as well as a ghostly figure. This ghostly figure, an apparition, that Astra looked similar to the woman that Astra had previously spoken with in one of her dreams. As you approach this figure, the figure got pulled towards you and into the staff and into you, and seemed to reawaken some hidden memories and magical essence. As this awakened something within you, the spirit that had been speaking to you in the past asked if you wouldn't mind relinquishing some control, because there was something very important that was supposed to happen. As such, you did. And as you descended down to the ground floor, the rest of the party met Timekeeper, Tisha Trissandrel. With her memories seemingly partially recovered, coincided at this moment with a very important moment in time. The arrival of Lord Theodore Constantine at the orrery, drawn by some mysterious fate. As Tisha returned his broken blade, World Ender, to him, the two met each other for the first time. Or maybe again, and renewed their bond. Theodore's armor broke and aged, and it seemed that your two new acquaintances stood at the precipice of their destiny. Here, within this strange wizard tower, this orrery of sorts. As Tisha Trissandro turned around, spoke to you, Theodore came inside, relinquished control back to you, Astra. What is everyone doing in this room after you witnessed this momentous moment? Momentous occasion.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, you guys want to get going?
I think we're done, yeah. This is
I want to start farming.
Man, it's been a while since I've had any food. Didn't have much when I was shackled up.
Oh, I can certainly get some food and everybody wants some tea.
Before we get into anything...
Hold on, I want tea.
Okay, I'll make some tea.
So, Astra, who now has control of herself, is like just inside.
Mm-hmm.
Theodore has just stepped in through the doorway and has just stepped inside. Astra, Tisha, reactivated the sigil, locking or closing the door again to what it was before. Because it had been open and you'd been able to see through it. Now you cannot see through it. It's just a closed door.
Cool. Before we get going, perhaps we should discuss this child here and if this is the best place for them right now.
Forgot he was here.
I didn't want to leave him alone. It didn't seem right.
Yeah, should we just tell him to scat?
We have not got quite into what happened in the Gilded Oasis yet, or who exactly you are. But is this your child?
He was also held captive with me from Lady Garnet, I believe. So...
Astra, you hear a voice in your head that just says, walk forward. Just go to the middle. Rest the staff on a seat or somewhere, anywhere.
Okay. I say out loud, and then I walk, kind of robotic and awkward to the center, and I put the staff down.
As you do, the purple hourglass on the top of the staff seems to glow and emanate a soft purple, smoke and steam that floats upwards and forms a strange, sort of purple, see-through, transparent, almost like an apparition of sorts of a woman. She looks about middle-aged, human, longish hair tied into a braid, piercing eyes, a little bit of a pointed, hawk-like nose.
Gotta draw her now.
She's dressed
I'm gonna
in
start with the boobs.
relatively simple robes, it seems like. Nothing too... The detail is also very fuzzy. It's not exactly a highly detailed, they seem like an apparition, sort of a ghost.
Any familiarity? Don't recognize her?
No.
Okay.
I assume she looks like the person
She looks like the person that she's seen. This ghostly figure forms and just looks around at all of you. Before you all say anything here, there's a couple of things that I want to speak. First, my name is Tisha Trissandro.
Staff lady.
Timekeeper, Tisha Trissandro. I think I've been trapped in the staff with your friend here, Astra. The Watcher? Potentially. We'll get back to that.
The what?
But there's two things. One, if any of you all have ever in the past seen myself, that's very unlikely. But Theodore, she points at Teddy. Make sure not to mention it, because anything that you do may change things that... Let's just say, don't mention any contact that you might have had with myself, which is, again, unlikely because it doesn't seem like I exist, which is very terrifying and also not... It's very terrifying. But he does, and there are certain things that I will not be able to tell you, because if I did, certain things would not happen the way that they are supposed to happen. Just know that I have no reason to lie to you. There's some things I can't tell you because I don't seem to remember all of them. My memory is full of holes. But there are also certain things that I cannot tell you, and I would really appreciate if you respect my privacy when I say this, because I am trusting you. I have no reason to lie to you, but...
Do I believe her?
Are you even a real person?
Are you alive?
We can get to that. No.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Theodore, or Teddy, is just standing beside the door, just like with his arms crossed. He's like leaning against the door and he's just thinking. You can roll an insight check. Anybody who wants to can roll an insight check.
Can I ask a quick player question? Because way back when, Drew said, don't trust anybody, like the name Tisha is dangerous, like only mention that name around somebody that you trust. Was that memory erased?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything to do with Tisha, basically.
Okay.
This is the first time you
She's
have heard
new
this
to
name.
us. Okay.
I guess back as Archmage, but it seems you have a sense of what you can't tell us. Does that mean you have a sense of what you should tell us?
I don't know what I should tell you. I just know certain things that It's not about me. It's less about me being able to tell you things because I, again, don't think I exist. Very scary. But it's more about you all mentioning things that may alter the fates of people who you might have interacted with in the past.
Oh no.
What's your insight?
I rolled a nat 20 for a 28.
Here's the message.
You know that she has seen Teddy's last moment with you all. She doesn't want him to know any of that. She is dancing around the fact that you know how he dies. And if he knows how he dies, that might not happen. And if that doesn't happen, you all might die. Because of the beholder.
So I have a question. They knew me from a different time. Does them speaking about me put me in danger?
I think we're all already having a hard time following this. I think the child here, is there a better place, or his family, or what should we do? I don't think these conversations are appropriate for a child.
I can arrange a room on the second floor for him to be isolated, maybe catch his breath, maybe freshen up, rest for a moment, and then you can figure out what to do with him.
Is that alright with you? Saying to Xander.
I think I can trust you. Well,
I would hope so. I have no reason to
not
be
even
lying
real.
to you all.
We'll just shackle him up there.
I did get 2 new manacles.
I thought you were flipping him off. I just out of the corner of my eye.
Dare you talk about the child like that?
Also, we probably still have the connection up, right? We were using it right up until we got to each other, so I assume we still have it active.
Yeah.
Just getting that insight off of that, I'm going to let you know. I think she's hinting at the fact that we are aware of Teddy's future and what happens to him. I do not think she wants him to know that. If you can convey that to the others.
Will, yeah. Convey the same message to everyone. Now, if you want to speak about it, you can, but...
What's a teddy?
It's okay, you're not connected.
Yeah.
I guess... Did you want to take the
Yeah, I
child
can.
up to the room?
She just points to the stairs. You go up the stairs. Just find one of the rooms. He thinks for a moment. The green door. Green door should be good.
Okay, I will take my leave of the child then.
As you leave, you see me holding manacles. No, because we don't need them.
as you go up, there's like a small spiral staircase. The kind of like winds upwards to the second floor. You go up that. She turns to Teddy and says, "Theo, I know this is. I know you just got some memories back from you. Or back. I really hope you can trust me. If something happens here, would you grant me permission to make you forget it?" And Teddy looks very... She's going to make a persuasion check. I'd rather not, but let's see where the conversation goes.
I'm sorry, do you know one another?
Yes, I know.
I look at Teddy and see how he reacts.
Make an insight check for me.
23.
Teddy seems like his memory is still really cloudy and mixed. He's not quite certain. And maybe it seems like he's just processing some things that he remembered that he didn't remember before. And like trying to piece them together.
But he sees some familiarity in her.
Kind of, yeah. Tisha speaks up. Yes. Theo and I are very familiar. What you're seeing here, this building, this location, this used to be home for me. I lived here. I worked here. And honestly, I built the city around us.
You built the whole city?
It was a long time ago.
How old are you?
Can't just ask people that. That's rude.
Very old. I was the leader, and I formed a group known as the Riftwalkers. We had several members, but we always operated in essentially a group of 3. It was myself as the wizard, sorcerer of the sort, my partner, Lord Theo, Lord Constantine, as you would know.
Romantic partner?
Not really.
Not really.
Not yet.
They bumped uglies.
And our scout, Scout Ironbeard.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Hold on, while we're throwing names out there, perhaps a round of introductions, as I'm not familiar with everyone in this room.
Certainly. At this
And
point,
if-
Xander,
Astra?
you put the kid inside the room. As you open the room, it's actually like a fairly nicely decorated, very cozy, almost like a bedchamber, like a single twin bed. A few toys, a small desk with like a books and like reading nook in the corner. Seems pretty much perfect for a child.
Okay, so it's
Like it
pretty
was
safe.
magically created at this very moment for a child. The kid goes in and turns around and looks at you.
Go on, little one. You're safe now.
Takes a step in, you close the door. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for protecting me. Why did the man want to kill me?
I cannot say for certain, but know that you are safe now.
Okay.
No, go to sleep.
Night night forever.
The kid's still like very much processing his trauma, and he just like closes the door. You hear a lock going on from behind.
That bastard.
You turn around and walk back down the spiral staircase just as you hear Calther say.
I would have said it when he came back down.
Also, if you wouldn't mind, we've been together for a long time, and I'm not entirely sure everybody here is being honest. Time for secrets or keeping others safe withholding information, I believe, is far past us.
Yeah.
You notice the spectral figure almost like pulling things down from the air, and as she does, like, a chair pops up. Another, like, a longer chase, like a small ottoman, a bunch of cushions on the ground, a bunch of carpets, a bunch of floating tables with, like, tea and crumpets and biscuits.
Tea's my job.
Like, appetizers, like, little cakes. You can just see her just, like, getting to work.
Bitch.
At her home. But there's enough seating space now here for a lot of people.
And some people
Teddy still stands by the corner.
like to alter the truth sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. I think it would be in our best interest, especially to our new friends here, to be honest with something as simple as our names.
I will start. I am Lord Theodore Constantine of Icefall.
Do I believe him? Nah, I'm just kidding.
He just says that from the door, almost just like stoically just standing there.
I will go next. You may all know me as the Big One, although I know that's not my real name. I don't actually know my real name, but I'm aware that the folks of Schema call me that because they too did not know it, and one day I would like to learn that. My friends can call me the. She does it, I don't know why.
Alright. My name is Xander. You may call me brother or brother Xander. Care not. I'm part of the Selnavi church. Unfortunately, I was captured by Lady Garnet and was held captive along with a child and some other woman that seems to have also been captured that we just seem to have come across recently.
Theodore Constantine looks at you and says, "You fought well. Perhaps we can duel again someday. Maybe not with this sword."
It's been a while since I've had a fresh scar.
Thank you for being honest with us. It's a pleasure to meet you, brother Xander.
As you mentioned towards the other woman, who's still very much standing beside you, who'll just assume that you kind of like standing close to each other. She looks at you, just like raises her eyebrow a bit.
Nice to meet you, Xander. My name is Calthea. I believe everyone else here. Are you actually staring at me like that?
Mm-hmm.
Make an inside check.
AJ,
Is it actually?
my name
Calthea?
is Calthea.
His
not.
name's actually Calther.
And what about you?
My name
Lyra.
is. You can call me Malira.
What's her name?
The Lyra?
How do you spell that?
Maelyra.
Lyra?
Yes.
It's a pretty name. I can see where the Lyra
Spell
part
it one more
came
time,
from.
please. M-E.
Maelyra.
M-A-E.
It's nice to meet you and
Malira.
meet you. I don't. Sure. Who's next?
Diamond Ironbeard. I'm from Cornhall, the city of Samson,
You killed
the
a
mighty,
dragon.
and who vanquished all the dragons.
It's called defeat there.
Well, if we're being honest, we
Right.
should probably stop lying. He didn't defeat all dragons. We've killed a
Sure,
dragon.
we killed one.
Okay.
Still, it's an impressive feat.
It is a very
We
impressive.
killed two.
Two we
Two.
We killed two.
Yeah.
You
Right.
notice a smirk come on the apparition's face as he says this.
Oh, you know Samson. Great, we'll talk about him in a bit. And I'm looking for my sister, Anya.
It's nice to meet you, Timon.
Next up is the apparition who says, "We certainly have a lot to talk about. I am timekeeper to Shetrasandro.
Who may or may not be a person.
I know at a certain point I was a person, but that
We're not
point...
judging. We listen and
Why
we
did you
don't
say
judge.
you're not alive?
I know know I'm not alive. I know I do not exist anymore, and that is a scary thought. But we can get back to that. This is introductions.
Alright, it's nice to meet you.
My name is Arkmere Croft.
Is it actually Arkmere Croft?
Yes.
It's actually in.
Insight check. Insight check.
Flame on!
Oh, should I roll that ass?
You can roll persuasion or deception if you like.
13.
I don't think I need.
No, you probably don't.
Don't you have like +10 to everything?
I have a 3, but it'll naturally go at least
That's a
2 or
5.
10.
No, it's a 3.
But then it'll get boosted
It'll be
2
higher
or
than a
10
13,
plus
yeah.
my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. Skills.
Deception.
Yeah, it's like 50
It's-
deception.
I'm a base 10 plus 10, 20.
Yeah, I believe it.
You generally believe him.
And I'm from Marinouin.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Astra Maris. I have my friends call me Astra. And I say I'm from North because I don't really know where I'm from. I was just kind of ran from the tower and went in a direction, kind of lost my way a little bit, came across you guys, so there's that. Next.
I think that's everything.
Baby steps. Nice to meet you. Re-meet you. Fresh faces.
Wait, what's the name of the kid?
Oh,
He's upstairs.
blush
Not with you.
operation. I didn't know operations could
Wait,
sneeze
did Teddy
like that.
Quite dusty in my
He
town.
was the first.
Oh, okay.
Guess we know how she died.
Yeah.
Sorry, before we get into all these questions about what's going on with Tisha and I guess Theodore here, what exactly happened at the Gilded Oasis? Last we spoke,
What?
last we spoke,
wearing
you
a
two were
vest,
just going
tuxedo,
to
covered in
find
blood.
the area and perhaps see what Lady Garnett wanted to discuss. And very clearly there was an altercation.
Oh.
Apparently met this individual. He met Melira.
She.
Arkmare's got a
I'm
sister.
still confused, yes. Apparently she's my sister.
Lady Garnett is your
What?
sister.
Yes.
Yes.
You didn't know that until just now?
You're
I didn't.
You're confused about that?
They share a
Never-
bloodline, but not. It's complicated.
Who's talking, Teddy?
Thea or Teddy. They share a bloodline. They have influence from the same lord, you could say, the Lord of Stygia, Levistus, the Frozen Prince.
Lord of
Everything's coming out.
Stygia. What's his name?
Levistus, Levistus.
Oh, Lev. That's all I know.
Levistus.
The Frozen Prince, the Frozen Betrayer, whatever you might call him. Historically speaking, he pissed off Asmodeus. Asmodeus trapped him in a giant block of ice. He's been trying to plot a way out of it for ever.
Oh,
Kind of his thing.
did you know this? Oh,
I know
Asmodeus.
Does Lady Garnet intend to free him?
I think so.
What is
At
it?
least she's working with him.
Also, this remember Selvier? He had a board. He's actually a big flame demon guy. Goes by the name Infernus.
This is a sword.
We had to take him down.
Anyways,
Wait,
as,
Sorry, go ahead.
As
anyways, to get back to what you were asking about, Lady Garnett asked for my presence because she seemed that she wanted to follow up on a contract that I had not fulfilled, at least my younger self had not fulfilled, which involved killing that child.
the one that's here.
Yes. And she threatened if I did not do anything, she would kill both the child and
Malaria.
Melira.
Malaria.
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 Malaria. Melira. there wasn't much time, and I regretfully did panic and almost killed the child. If it wasn't for Xander here, that child would be dead.
Yes, trust me, we went for a recon mission, and upon arrival, they forced us into these very dapper suits. And then
where is Garnet? Where is she?
She fled.
She fled on a magic broom. It was actually pretty cool. You do need to get one.
Is it Teddy again?
Yeah. Anytime I'm speaking like with a masculine sounding voice, it's Teddy.
I don't know. Tish could be like.
Yes, we encountered. It was a trap, actually. We had no choice.
How do you know so much? You seem to know a lot about Lady Garnet.
I'm an agent of a group of individuals, kind of part of the Ordo Draconis from Icefall. I've been working to track down an individual known as Karis Marinan, who is wanted and is a major threat to Icefall for a very long time, and this was the only lead that I had, and now she's gone. Excellent. Well, at least it led me here.
Not the only lead you have, but we'll get back to that. Sorry, Archmage, you said you were willing to fulfill the contract to save the lives of Melira and Xander here?
Correct.
It may have done some damage to the boy, but he's not wrong. He was really given no chance. And it was a very quick turnaround. He either did it or they were going to all perish.
It's a difficult situation to find yourself in.
I tried calling for you many times, but I think we were out of range. And thank you for helping. I mean, it wasn't the easiest situation you were thrown in either.
Glad I could help.
Why did she want the kid dead?
They said it was a contract that I had to fulfill. The kid is tied to not so great people in Marinoin. What's the family's name?
Begoni.
Yes. the mafia in Marinoin.
Oh.
Theo kind of looks at you. She's wanted to get you under her fold for quite some time, basically since she discovered that you existed. After she was banished from here, Siltia, she got word of your existence, and we traveled to Marinuan, and I believe she was the one who issued that contract.
Wait, she was banished from Silthia?
Yep.
How did she
return?
Yeah.
Politics. Most likely because I don't exist anymore.
His feminine and masculine voice sound very similar.
Most likely because I don't exist anymore.
There you go.
She was, some of her research, I believe, was in fields that are not meant to be dug too deeply, particularly with regards to the lightning rifts above. She was hoping to, I believe her research would have led to the fall of the city, and so using my own connections, I think, and these are again bits and pieces of my memory because I don't remember everything. I was responsible for her being exiled from the city.
Lady Tisha, your name was mentioned to us by the Zenjo looking guy, Cassius. Don't know if it's familiar to you, but he said your name, and he said that you served High Lord Brennan.
You see her almost like think and like is lost in thought for a bit. I don't recognize that name. Potentially, again, gap in memory. He's not wrong, but that was a very long time ago.
Hey, Lord Brenna is from Icefall. You said that you made Siltia, so
I did.
why were you in Icefall?
I was born there a long time ago. That was where I met Theo for the first... Well, not for the first time.
Were you also a member of the Order of Draconis?
No. This is now centuries ago, almost. I was born there before Siltia existed. I showed some sort of talent with magic, and I was sent to study at what used to be the academy at that time, in the rec state of Redholm, southeast of it.
Red Home?
We heard that before.
Yeah.
Actually, Redham.
Redham.
Redholm.
Red Home.
Next to Com City, I think.
I was studying at the college there. I mastered. It was almost a little bit of. You could say I was a prodigy of sorts. And what my passion and my the focused area of my studies was in these lightning rifts, and very specifically their strange sort of interaction with time. Where these rifts open, we've spent centuries at that point observing them from a distance safely, because it's always dangerous. We learned that they rapidly age the land around them. Particularly any man-made structure will over the course of a storm crumble almost to dust, as though it has eroded beyond time itself. But nature seems to persist, and even nature gets damaged, but once the storm passes, it reverts back to how it was. And so I had a theory myself that the sort of strange chronomancy had would allow us to be able to study the storms deeper and learn more about them. And so I specialized very much in magic to alter time and to control time, and that was my area of expertise and learning. And that introduced me to a group of very eclectic individuals, known as the Timekeepers. They were very powerful wizards, sorcerers, arcane practitioners, very eccentric, not exactly the most interested in these storms. But they provided me with an opportunity to learn and to grow and to master my practice. And Redholm was home for me, and that group of individuals.
Sorry, where did you meet them? You met them
In Redholm.
in Red Home?
Do these other timekeepers still exist?
That's a very interesting question. I know at least one of them does. And you've met him. I believe he goes by the name Kazmarat. He was an artificer of sorts.
Dad?
He built many of the devices and sort of arcane relics of the city. But this is a very long story. Perhaps you'd like some tea.
Oh yes, I'll get on that right away.
Spill the tea.
Quite parched.
I'm gonna get up and make my own tea.
What if the kid up there with no food?
He locked the door.
So,
He has an apple, technically.
as I mentioned, I was pretty much the only one who was interested in the lightning rifts. The rest of the timekeepers almost treated my interest with disdain in many ways. But I would continue my research, and I eventually, with the help of my magical abilities, was able to form sort of excursions within the storms themselves. Was able to return safely with sort of stasis-based magical spells that would return me back to a point in time prior to when I had entered the storm. Very complex magics. When I went into the storms, the first few excursions were mostly just staying quiet, scouting around. But as I got bolder and bolder, at one point, I discovered some sort of a strange portal, like gateway, something that was causing things to disappear. And I entered it, and it brought me to the Chaoslands. And some of you all may have also been there. It was here that I learned and came face to face with the fact that those dragons that your friend Tymond was mentioning are very much not dead. I believe the Dragon Lords are mostly just trapped away.
Wait, so Samson did not kill them?
Don't think so.
You're lying. Inside check.
I met Arndurax, the Eternal Fire, face to face, and I can very much tell you I'm not lying.
Did you meet Samson the Mighty?
No. The only reason I was able to escape was through the help of a strange figure who refused to reveal their identity, but they called themselves the Watcher. The reason that I called you the Watcher is because the only thing I know about this figure is that they had with them that pet of yours.
Okay.
And I just assumed that you were them, but maybe not.
I've been called the Watcher before. We'll have to talk more about that.
We can come back to that.
Yeah.
I was rescued from the fortress of Arndurax and taken to Voidreach, a tower of sorts, a floating Arndurax, the Eternal Flame. I was taken to the strange tower at the base of a massive purple tree by this figure. And they revealed to me that the Dragon Lords were indeed not dead, very much alive, and being trapped and held at bay by them. But that their power was weakening. And they needed time to solve their problem. And that was something I could provide. Time is something I'm pretty good at.
Sorry, who is they? The Watcher? Or
the Watcher. And so they sent me back to Redhelm, and I set to work trying to convince the timekeepers that Revenacht was in danger, and that the Dragon Lords were eventually going to come back because the Watcher was losing power and that we needed to support them, and they obviously didn't listen. They granted me a small stipend and asked me to perhaps go and maybe establish a research center somewhere else farther away from Redhelm. And so I did. I found a small glass canyon out here with the help of the Watcher, actually, located this location with an oasis and a small flowering silver tree that the Watcher promised would protect me from the storms, and set up a research camp of sorts.
This same Watcher that you thought was me?
Yeah, the Watcher. They needed time, and I promised that after having seen Arndurax face to face, I know if the Watcher is telling the truth, and I have no reason not to believe them. And they are weakening, and their power is fading, and these dragons are only being kept at bay by them. really don't want to see another return to the Dark Ages, so to speak. And this was a long time ago. Then, after a lot of pestering in politics, I was finally able to convince a few members of the Timekeepers, including Kazmarat, to listen to me. And we needed some sort of a way to get into the Chaoslands more reliably, more safely. We needed a sort of a base of operations from where we could potentially stop any further incursions into reunite. We needed some sort of a fortress or base within the Chaoslands. And Kazmarath mentioned that he had heard of a device that he could potentially assemble that could lock a location within the storm so that it would constantly come back to where it was. Constantly. And we thought we could potentially send something up there into the storm and lock it in place. That was a big mistake. We began preparations for a ritual that would allow us to send the fortress city, the building within Redhome, into the storm and lock it in place, so that we could have some sort of a base of operations, and I could prove to them that there are dragons within the storm. Unfortunately, that resulted in the destruction of Redhome, and the death of hundreds of thousands of people, as their souls were ripped from their body and sent along with the city.
How's that tea coming?
Oh, it's just about done.
I'm fortunate, but I also regret that I was not there when it happened. I was working in Silthia because we know that Silthia was going to be safe. It was a research sort of base of operations on another ritual to transport whatever was locked within the Chaoslands here. That's what I was working on. That was my part of the ritual. And I succeeded. Up above us, to this day, I believe, are remnants of Redhome, as well as the device that Kazmarath built to lock it in place.
You are aware Kazmarath is a big spooky monster with 8 tentacles, right?
The souls that get ripped from their bodies here and get sent into the Chaoslands over time may perhaps mutate, may become things that they were not when they... Don't spend too much time in the Chaoslands is a good way to put it.
So he was once, like you, a humanoid.
He was.
Were you guys romantically involved?
Before or after? That's a lot of appendages for holes.
Oh, God.
But yes, that resulted in the creation of the city, or the fortress up above.
Well, when you said fortress, do you mean the glass ceiling?
No.
Is
the
it
floaty island?
Up in the
I'm
sky
gonna send
above
a
us.
message to Calther. Is that the thing we saw in the orb?
I think so.
Within the storm that constantly swirls above the city is a keep. A keep that I built and maintained and was the only I thought, the only timekeeper left alive, where I formed a group of soldiers, a group of individuals who would be able to keep the dangers of the lightning rifts at bay long enough for the Watcher to complete whatever it is they were trying to do. The Riftwalkers. We would gather folks from talented individuals from Lost in the Storms, or people who came to us, from people who were connected to, built small units that would be able to outreach through these storms and travel through the strange timelines that you could jump out into from the storm. And Redome was our base of operations.
Just want to pull up the crystal and ask, are these your creation then?
No, those aren't. Teddy looks over to you. No, those are not technically hers. And he lifts up his gauntlet and pulls it off. You can see a crystal embedded within them. We have High Lord Brenna to thank for these. Her folk and Icefall basically created these. That's mostly the protection that these grant from the storms, is why a lot of Riftwalkers are from Icefall. It's people who have ended up being able to survive within the lightning rifts and within Redome safely. Now, I don't know any of this, I think. But what she's mentioning, well, I know this. I don't know anything about Redome.
This, Cassius told us not to let that information slip in Silthia.
That is correct. But I gather you're already holding one, so...
More so, I mean, if Tisha was from Icefall and found in Silthia, why the secrecy?
Well, I mean, I don't think Tisha exists.
Interesting.
So did all of Redhome got transported above here, or as just a keep, or what happened to the rest of the Rexted?
When the ritual happened, it resulted in a large chunk of the city simply being enveloped by energy from this, from the Chaoslands, as we opened almost we punched a hole through reality to the Chaoslands. A lot of it spilled out, destroyed and ravaged the land around it. But where the ritual itself was happening, that was kept protected by the timekeepers and by the ritual itself. That was the part of the fortress that is up there, is the academy and the base of operations of the timekeepers back then.
Oh, sorry.
So the ritual worked, but it also spilled out a bunch of monsters that fucked up the rest of the city.
Not just monsters, it essentially destroyed and killed a lot of people, and their souls got pulled into the Chaoslands.
And they became all the scary shit that we see.
They became some of the scary shit, and a lot of the scary shit was already there, I think.
Presumably other people.
Yeah, apologies for my confusion, but you say you invented Silthia, or you created Silthia.
I did.
But you don't exist, so how was it created?
See, I did exist in this world. I had to have, or else the staff wouldn't exist. So I, at one point, did exist in this world. And now I don't. And that is the thing that terrifies me. And that is something around which I will have to be very cagey and not mention to you how I am still here. Because technically, if the thing that resulted in me not existing was to discover that I now exist, you understand my trepidations.
Timey-wimey stuff.
But I certainly did exist here. I have these memories, obviously, from this apparition, or this servant of mine that I created within this tower. This tower exists. I was here at one point in time. I built this. Red Home is up there.
You said this was your staff.
It was.
Perhaps you created it as a failsafe, but I'm just theorizing now.
I set out 8 cups of tea. A couple pieces of chicken that we got from the market. A couple apples.
Redhome, the Rexate, it shares a striking similarity to another former Rexate. Are you familiar with Linvanum?
She looks up. I'm not. I don't have any recollection of this place. Teddy looks to you. Yep.
As in, it's that city?
No.
Not quite. We were just there. Your friend, Lady Garnett. Most of us.
Friend is a bold word.
Sure. I believe that same ritual was, or something similar, was conducted at that Rexite. I believe one of Lady Garnett's... I've been following Lady Garnett trying to get closer to this Karis fellow. I believe this Karis fellow is very invested in Linvanum. I believe he is looking for a way to potentially reverse what happened there, performing some sort of strange arcane ritual there. I've been trying to meet this fellow, but he's always been a few steps ahead and managed to avoid meeting Lady Garnett face to face. But I gather that they were supposed to come here. Lady Garnett, Karis, and another acquaintance of Lady Garnett's from Schema, Clanko, the Conjurer. They're all supposed to
Not
meet here.
piece of shit.
I believe they're supposed to meet here. Lady Garnett went to Linwanum, where apparently Karis, according to her, that's where he lives or is based out of, but he was not there, and that was where we encountered Xander.
Yes, sorry. You mentioned, I think, briefly, why were you near the ruins of Linvanum?
We had heard that this place, the sun does not quite reach, and we were over there investigating, like, what the cause of this was. Unfortunately, we couldn't get there in time before we were ambushed, and I was separated from my group.
A few of your group are still held captive. I believe Linvanum is, at this moment, covered in a massive globe of darkness that prevents us from being able to see inside or know what the heck is going on. I tried to get away from Lady Garnett long enough to explore and learn more about what is going on there, but was unable to. We did run into your companion and several of their companions in the last-ditch effort to escape, ran into the sphere, and from what I heard from Lady Garnett, they were captured. I have no idea what's happening there. I need to find out.
Where did you hear about Linvanum?
I don't think you've heard about Linvanum per se, but you do know about like the ruins within the woods near. Well, I mean, Lake Linvanum is a place that you have heard about, and you know that there are ruins there, and there is apparently your mission from your god and your group was to go and figure out what is happening there. So it was from your temple. Essentially.
Linvanum sounds a lot like Linvari, which is the god that you follow.
Is that where you're from?
No.
Take
What
a
are you?
magnifying glass.
Where are you from, friend? Are you ready to share?
It does not surprise me, I suppose, that a follower of the brother would poke their nose around Linvari's area, but nonetheless, Linvanum is an old Rexate. that was destroyed a long time ago in a ritual not too dissimilar to that of Redhome. There was a war there once, and the people of the leadership, the fools that they were, tried to perform a ritual to move the city, and in doing so they caused its destruction, killing thousands of people and the city itself. That is now what sits in ruin on that lake.
Was that your home?
I'm not from Limbana.
The fact that they had attempted to recreate that ritual without any regard for the loss of life that has happened there and the amount of damage that was done. The only reason that we were even able to keep the remnants of Redhome safe and to plant the Nexus anchor was thanks to the Watcher.
Welcome.
The Watcher absorbed some of the chaos energies that were seeping through and gave us enough time, at great cost to themselves, perhaps even weakening them further.
Question I have is, how would Linvanum have known of this ritual?
Do not know.
How do you fit in all this? You seem to know a lot about this fallen city. You seem to know a lot about Karis. Your name keeps popping up associated with many others.
I'm trying to figure the world out.
If only you had a group of friends to help.
I
Stop
do, and they have-
bullshitting us. Listen. Man, I love you. You helped save my ass when we met. You too. You are a terrible liar.
I am
Yeah,
not.
we really
But
do need
I'm
to
not
work on
talking
it.
to you right now. Listen, when we were back in Shay's mansion, you wanted me not to poke. So I didn't. And then, when we were running after your friend here, you told me to wait. And I waited.
It's time.
It's time. Where are you from? What's going on?
It is not important.
Who dis?
Maria.
Let's take.
You can. We are sworn to secrecy. We cannot
By who?
divulge. He's only doing this for the sake of all of us.
I've heard
All
that.
of who?
You said that Lady Garnet knows your thoughts, right?
She does.
Then whatever she's going to do with it, I think there's no harm in sharing some of that information with these individuals if they're going to help us.
We would like to know why we saved you. We put our
Allow
trust
me
in you.
to shed some light. Even if I told you where we're from, it would mean nothing to you.
Are you from the moon?
No.
But if it would mean nothing, why keep it secret?
To protect our people in case your minds are also probed. As similar to what happened here. As soon as somebody knows, as we've heard before, there are power in names. Just knowing a name, someone can continue to follow that. But what I can share is that a long time ago, our ancestors were from Linbanum.
Called it.
We are not from Linbanum, but that is where our history sits. And what I will share is something is happening to our people that we cannot explain. And for years we've been trying to discover what is happening, what it means, and if we can fix it, and we've found nothing. And we've been sheltered away from the rest of the world for a very long time. And so our people decided we would send individuals out to see what we can learn about the world, what may be happening, Perhaps there are answers out here. I am one of those individuals, obviously. May Lyra here is as well, and Volro is another.
How many of you are there in total?
3. We were given the title of Seeker, in Seek of Knowledge, to see what we could learn of this world, and come back hopefully with an answer to what is happening.
That's why you're always writing stuff down in your book.
What's happening to your people?
It appears that our people are no longer able to grow, reproduce. It appears that we are at an end. And those of us who are here now, that is it.
Did anybody ever teach you about...
I'm not sure what this gesture means, so I can
Oh,
answer
that
the
explains
question.
a lot.
Well, you just need to learn the birds and the bees.
I'm not familiar with that saying either.
Oh my god, no wonder.
How quick are your people dying off?
As far as I can tell, we aren't aging any quicker, but for several years now, no one new has been born.
When we met you, you were at the edge of the forest, in the middle of nowhere. Were you heading somewhere?
The 3 of us left in different directions, with no direct
And how long after that did we meet?
days.
Sorry, so your people have discovered that you can't reproduce. And I guess why the privacy? I'm still confused.
Our people felt that we could not trust the outside world and what happened with Linvarnum, and so we hid ourselves. And so, in an effort to protect our people, we share nothing, and we keep the secrets close.
How long have you been hidden away for?
Centuries.
And how many of your people remain?
Now they're, I don't know the population.
I want an exact number.
Yeah.
Probably like no more than a few hundred.
Where
Maybe-
are they?
maybe less.
So we can finish them off.
This was my contract.
You said your people don't trust the outside people. You've been outside with the outside people for some time. Are you going to report back saying like, no, we were definitely right, don't trust anybody? Or has your opinion changed?
I think we are not entirely foolish to distrust the outside world. There have been many individuals that we have come across that I would not trust. But you, collection, have proved that there are other people out there who are good. So, I will present that back. But I cannot go home until we figure out what's happening, and I believe Karis and what he's doing has something to do with it.
Yeah, he seems to be the root cause of a few issues right now.
Kara stemmed from your town? Your city?
How much do I don't know everything.
You knew of Curtis before we met them?
I was not familiar with the name Karis.
There were books written by him and by others from his time that we managed to save from Linwanham. I recognized his name in one of the books that I'd read, that I trained from. I believe he was one of our people at one point.
You were recognized by a few people. You were mentioned something of the falling or something along those lines.
Kara said that to me directly.
Why you? Is it in regards to you or your people? Is there similarity?
I think he speaks to us collectively as a people and not me individually.
So you weren't there during that. We've seen a couple paintings of war and
I
things.
was not a part of that.
You're not thousands of years old.
No.
That sounds like Karis is.
Yes, but I believe he wants to know how our people survived.
That painting in Khaldun Manor, it showed a war
Yes.
between, I guess, Icefall and Limvanum.
That's correct.
Karis was one of the generals of a war that was fought.
Who dis?
Teddy.
You do like different hats.
Yeah.
When you're leaning this way, you're the women.
I mean, I'm just leaving whichever way people are talking.
Start talking
Karis
with French
and-
Italian accent when you're
Karis was one of the leaders of the army. He was the high general, the Night Wolf of Glenwannon. The two Rexites went to war a long time ago, but somehow he survived. Icefall was no match for the Rexite formerly. Oh no, it was no match. Icefall demolished them.
Oh, alright. Oh.
Which is what led to the ritual. When Bonham was on the back foot.
Why were they at war?
Icefall sees itself, or saw itself back in the day, as kind of a steward of the entire continent, at least aside from where the gods stood in Diamark. The majority of the continent they were the protectorate of. And I believe Glenwannon chafed a little at some political decisions that were made back in the day. They honestly thought that they were capable enough to handle the Ordo Draconis, which was a bad idea.
There was a foolish leader who thought anything that he wanted belonged to him.
Within Limvanum? Or
Within Riverknock. Anywhere. And Icefall did not let that happen.
I believe originally they just simply started raiding some caravans, transporting trade goods through, and then from there on it became kind of escalated over time into a all-out war, and there was a massive battle on the fields of Cragdoom where Glenwannon's army was decimated, and many believed Karis the Night Wolf was slain, but clearly not. And since then, Icefall has kept its feelers out, trying to keep track of him, and one of the missions granted to me as a member of the Blackfang division of the Ordo Draconis was to follow a lead here in Silthia, or of Karis, and some connection he had to a Shay Caladoon here.
So you know about Shay?
Yes. I believe she'd left here by the time I arrived, but I was here. It took several years of studying at the academy, pretending to get into the good graces of the networking. I came across Shay, I think, once when she visited, but
What
I eventually
happened to her?
ingratiated myself to Lady Garnett, who was supposed to be one of my points of contact, or not point of contact, one of my targets, and began to spy on her.
What
over
happened to Shay?
She was a bright young thing, and she burned fast and became, I believe, she might be dead. Don't know for sure.
In
Yes.
some regards.
She's a vampire.
Oh,
She
She has a sex dungeon.
she has a sex dungeon.
and a slave.
And the
She
sex
writes
slave.
smutty books too. They're okay.
I believe she has heart
I was
shaped
in the wrong
nipples, too.
dungeon.
Can't say. That's interesting. Wait, you mentioned she's a vampire?
She's a vampire.
One of the nicer ones
Is-
I've met.
Karis also a vampire? That would explain a lot of things about why how he's managed to live so long.
It
I would
appear
assume
he's
so.
more than just a vampire at this point.
Okay.
A question.
Daylight. Important. Perhaps we were destined to meet for a reason, Brother Xander.
Oh, burn the day of light to their eyes. Question. You mentioned you're still withholding information for the protection of your people, and I can understand that now. But you also said that Garnet knows inside her mind.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean your people are in danger?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like finding Lady Garnet's whereabouts is of the utmost importance.
Yes. Lady Garnet and Karis. It's probably
Oh,
safe.
he's whispering me, right?
Nice.
Let me just wait for this. Your dad's dead.
It's probably safe to assume that whatever Lady Garnet knows, it won't be long before Karis knows it as well.
Right.
Perhaps we can seek answers on why she was interested in Lynn Bonham.
Yeah, and whatever Karis is trying to do there, if he's trying to undo the ritual, I'm not even sure what that would mean.
Are they trying to get to Redhome? Do we think that Kazmarath is in Redhome?
By the way, all this time, Diamond is avoiding the gaze of Teddy.
We've seen Redhome. At least, I think we've seen it. Before we fell through the sky into the glass here, we peered into an orb. And we saw what I believe now is Redhome. I check my messages. No, it wasn't for me, damn it.
Yes.
It's still there.
Yeah. Don't entirely understand it, but
Yes. I put it there, so it should still be there. But if I don't exist, then the Riftwalkers don't exist. Which means there's no one else there, which means it's probably been overtaken by all manners of strange things, potentially Kazmarath.
Now you keep saying you don't exist, and if all that
Yes.
is true, we've met Riftwalkers.
I would ask that you perhaps do not
We didn't.
Speak
I
about-
was kidding. I have never seen a Riftwalker.
anybody or anything from past this point in time that you may have encountered or seen, please try to avoid talking about.
I don't even
You
know who these
know
people
what?
are.
One thing we've heard about and haven't seen or heard from? My freaking sister.
Oh yes, that's a good point.
I've heard her name said as a Riftwalker Ironbeard. I'm pretty sure it's her because it's definitely not my brother Tormos.
Pardon, your sister is named Ironbeard. Last name. Oh, mixed.
This is time into Ironbeard.
Oh,
her beard is way better than Timon's.
Yes, you say not to mention people. but
Last time
information about Anya.
she only had a stubby, but she had like a very long braid.
Time. First up, check your messages.
Damn it!
Well, Tisha mentioned her.
Yeah.
One of the
But then
three.
she just told us not to mention anybody.
Wait,
She
what
brought
were
it
the
up first.
what were the roles that you had mentioned as the three? You mentioned Tisha was the wizard, Anya was the scout, Teddy.
Theodore looks at you and tilts his head. I don't think I've ever called myself Teddy.
Shit.
He comes up with nicknames.
Is my hand fading away?
He calls me TBO a lot. He likes nicknames.
He
you
started
notice,
calling me ass.
It's
This
just
is
an
endearing
she,
name.
she is ass.
you notice Tisha just like raise her hand and like
And you explode?
begin casting a spell.
Wait,
He's gonna have to make a wisdom save. To see if he rolled bad, so that's good.
I don't think he said that. I think he said Theo.
In a moment, he's going to forget that you ever mentioned that. Please do not mention anything from the future that you may have seen.
How long before that
He
takes
is-
effect?
Uh,
You like
as soon as I
soirees, we've
stop-
met you before you were drunk.
As soon as I stop casting this,
Please don't mention
spell
anything from the
Yeah.
future.
From his
from
future.
his future.
His future.
You have nice
His
swords.
name is
We've met you
Theo.
3 or 4 times. You
Theodore.
like soirees. We've met you. You were drunk once. You went by Teddy. Okay, no.
That's better work.
Yeah.
She casts the spell,
Oblivion.
Thank
modifying
God.
his memory of the last 5 seconds that happened.
Thank God.
I have a spell that kind of does that. Take 2. You mentioned
Theo is a warrior, a protector, a guardian of sorts. I was the wizard,
How many
the
spell
leader,
slots do you think she has? We can test her patience.
and Riftwalker Ironbeard was
Scout.
her scout.
What's Riftwalker Ironbeard's first name?
Tymond.
Excuse me?
Wait, there must be a mistake.
That's what I remember.
Wait, what?
Oh my God.
What are you talking about?
Her name was Tymond.
I don't think it's a her.
His name was Tymond.
Did he look like that?
like this time.
A little bit more
Female?
slim, a little bit more lithe, a little bit more
Boop
of a
ears?
ranger of sorts. Very capable shot.
We've been focusing on the wrong person. Who are you?
I suck at this gun.
It is true. I've seen him miss a lot.
Pretty good at birds.
No,
Birds I can shoot.
that's where things are interesting for me as well. I remember Tymond, you were one of my closest companions. You and Theo worked together with me.
What?
Changing paths.
You always mentioned that you wanted to go home to your family, to your sister, but that you weren't able to because it would bring danger to them.
What?
Your sister Anya, her name.
Huh?
No, in the original timeline, you were the Riftwalker, but your path was changed. So
Yeah.
your sister became the
Oh
Riftwalker
my
in
God.
our timeline.
Yeah. It's like
Oh, I
bouncing
get
back
that.
and
I'm getting
forth.
confused.
He said that for
Diamond's not that smart.
Yeah.
What? But wait a minute. Are you telling me my future right now?
Oh my
No,
God, is he gonna die?
Because it seems like your future isn't. Something's happened here. I don't exist anymore,
I'm
but the memories.
definitely not light.
I don't exist anymore, but the
That's
memories
what
that
you're
I had.
I like my weight.
The memories that I had from when I existed are true. I don't know what happened. To be honest, I don't know why. I don't know what happened to your sister. Is your sister missing? Is she back at home? I'm not aware of any of this stuff, to be honest. All I know is you were one of us. You were a Riftwalker, and you are a Riftwalker. You have traveled through the storms. You used the...
And
You
Diamond
use the
yells
runes.
out in frustration, and then he looks. And I look at Teddy, and I don't say that.
Dio.
Dio, she said that you're a Riftwalker.
Yes.
Do you know me?
No.
Do you know any other Ironbeard?
Yes. You mentioned your uncle forged the sword. I was drawn to this blade, and he pulls out the dwarven runed blade, and its maker.
Orgrim?
Yes, that was his name.
That's my uncle.
Tisha looks frustrated, but doesn't say anything. You can see that she's frustrated and annoyed at something.
Can I try to insight if it has anything to do with any of the names that I said?
Make an insight check.
Ah, shit. No, that was a 9. With advantage.
You have no idea what it's about. But she seems frustrated, man. Teddy, almost like Theo, puts the he puts the
Wipe his
sword.
mind.
He puts the sword.
I helped him a little bit, you know.
Maybe that was why I was drawn to that blade. Maybe I was supposed to have it. Yes, that is. Can we speak in private for a bit? This is Tisha. You all may chat amongst yourself for a bit. I would like to speak with Timon.
Just the
If you
three
don't
of
mind.
us?
It's just me and him.
Oh. Alright.
Follow me. And she begins to float up the stairs.
Take a child.
So many stairs.
She floats up. You go up and there's she floats towards like a small door. Like the door flips open and inside it's a very quiet, like closed off room. There just are like 2 chairs that are just like sitting there. She doesn't sit, she just walks in and just floats.
Should I close the door? I close the door.
Yes, please.
Can we start here banging?
Oh.
I'll
Stop,
make you remember who
lady.
you are.
What's up?
I can trust you, but there's some things that I cannot tell to everyone. Those.
Do you want everybody else in this room to leave? Nah, that's alright.
Don't delve too deeply into the weapons. They're what connect us to each other, and they might be why I'm still here. The Riftwalkers have share a bond with each other through our weapons, and I believe the one between you or your sister and Teddy, Theo, maybe that sword. Perhaps if you can find wherever your sister is, or perhaps if you are the Riftwalker and have something, a weapon or a blade or an item built together that you can use to spark a remembrance in her. I know that you were supposed to still be around, and if you are her now, then she is still around.
Why do you think that I'm her now?
Because you were who we found through the storm. You were out on a hunt. You got sucked through a portal. You ended up in Riovis. You practiced there for a while, and we discovered that you were out of town. You lived there, and we are out of time.
No.
And we brought you in to be a Riftwalker, to help serve and protect from the rifts. And the universe has a way of bringing us to where we're supposed to be. Do you trust me?
I don't know if I trust you, staff lady. You are, listen, don't take this the wrong way, but my people, we are not quick to trust. We believe that trust must be earned. I've I think you helped my friend when we met Keres and he basically killed her. She told me that she had a choice between herself, her best friend, and a voice in the staff. And she chose the voice in the staff, and I thought that she was fucking crazy. Between refusing help from herself and her best friend to a voice in the staff, but you came through. You helped her. She's here. But you are also not here.
Fate and destiny and the universe, these are all broad concepts. I knew how you would answer that question because I knew you and spent years working with you. I knew that you wouldn't simply trust me because I asked you to trust me. But I do ask that you trust the path that is laid before us. The Riftwalkers, we have a saying, if you may.
Trust us.
It's hard to understand.
What's the saying?
Carpe diem.
We walk the path laid before us, whether we know or not, whether we know or know not, such that each step narrows the rift. And you finish the sentence as though you knew the saying from deep within. Check your message.
What, did she like lift up her shirt as a tramp stamp or something?
Sorry, say that last
Check your
part
messages.
again. Raph didn't hear.
Check your messages because Timon for some reason just knows the
You're
saying.
finishing the saying for her.
Oh, I finished
You're
the saying?
finishing each other's sandwiches.
You heard. So we walk the path laid before us, whether we know or know not, such that each step narrows the rift.
And
Check your messages.
should I say?
Yeah.
Between what is and what must be? How do I know that?
You trust me.
Okay, maybe a little more.
She's the one with the mind magic, by the way.
Yeah, while you're saying that, she was just like,
Reset boss icon. Alright, remember, it's this one.
Meanwhile, it's been like 4 hours.
Yeah.
We're like, what's happening up there? She's like, eventually he'll see.
You'll see.
he will fucking learn. Like,
Do you just give your do you trust me? No. God damn it.
Okay. Do you really not know my sister Anya?
I know that you loved her and that she was very important to you.
Have you never met her?
I have not.
Insight check.
It's like,
Okay, that's better. That's 25.
she rolled a natural 20. You have no idea whether she's telling the truth or not, but you seem to trust her.
Yeah.
dirty daddy.
So, why doesn't she answer me? I know that she's alive. Anya was fascinated by the storms. She studied at the Gilded Hall of Cornwall, and she took a fascination for the storms. She started watching them from the upper city, from the gates of the upper city, and then one day she decided to organize an expedition to investigate it. I couldn't go. I was busy. My father had this large order of weapons to deliver, and I told Anya I had to help. She went without me anyway, and I don't know what happened. Her party was engulfed by a red lightning storm. Many died, many disappeared, and there was one who came back who was aged terribly.
A lot of those sounds very similar to what you mentioned when I knew of you.
So, do you think Anya went to Ariovis?
Potentially. I do not. I would simply be
How
just making
long?
assumptions.
Did I go to the past in Ariovis or did I go to the future in Ariovis? When did you find me?
You were in Riovis for a few years.
In the past?
That's an interesting thing. You were in Riovis for a few years before we found you. Time is all relative.
I sent a message to Anya in one of Klenko's letters. And Klenko said, as much as I don't trust that fucker, he said that if the message has a live destination, it's gonna fly there. Otherwise, it just burns. So I wrote the message and it flew.
Then that means she's out there somewhere.
Why doesn't she answer? I saw her in a dream.
You're walking the path. You're taking steps forward. And I believe that just as Theo's destiny brought him to me, your destiny will bring you to where you need to go. What is and what must be will always converge. It is our duty to make sure that that happens, and you are one of us. So,
Theo, Teddy. Before Teddy died,
Theo.
he told me to save the Riftwalkers. Why did he say save the Riftwalkers? That Teddy, I think he knew Anya.
Maybe. You know, I haven't put too much thought into it. It's a terrible burden to know the end that awaits him.
I can't look at him.
To know that your best friend and your closest ally will not get to grow old. You won't settle down or have a wife, a child. That he will not know a happier ending. Only a sacrifice filled with purpose.
I failed him. Like I failed Anya. Can you erase that from me?
I can, but I wouldn't. This is a burden that's placed upon us, sure, but it also gives us motivation, it gives us purpose. If he hadn't sacrificed himself, if he hadn't sent you to the city with purpose, perhaps you wouldn't have come here. You wouldn't have come to my home. You wouldn't have brought me here and not bring us to where I could set him upon the path to eventually protect you and sacrifice himself for the sake of everything.
Where do we even look? Teddy was saying, save the Riftwalkers. I mean, Kazmarot is clearly a crazy asshole, I think. But
your friends were mentioning something about a vision of Redhome. I would very much like to see it, or at least see what's
I didn't see
going
it.
on up there. There's a lot of blood on my hands. My people of... If the Riftwalkers are dying or dead, then theirs too, because I set them upon this path. everybody on reunite, potentially, if the Watcher doesn't succeed with whatever it is they're planning.
It sounds like he wants to be freed.
The Watcher?
No, not the Watcher. The Cosmonaut.
Oh. That does seem like it. Anyways, we can continue down below. I just wanted to make sure that you don't mention too much about the weapons, because if the weapons are what brought me back, and whatever it is that made me not exist learns about it, that will be bad.
Is this familiar in any way to you? And I show her stone heart. No weapon?
I don't think so. But that one is. And she points at thunder on your back.
Oh, really? Is this the same that I...
You worked
used
on it
before?
together with your sister. This was your bonded weapon.
Huh. I guess that didn't change.
Anyways, let's rejoin your friends.
Before, one last question. You talk about the Watcher as if it's a friend.
They were?
You ever see if it's a he or a she?
They went to great lengths to hide their identity. I trusted them, but all that I know is that the pet that they kept with them at all times.
Above table, what's the name of the asshole again?
Pastor.
Pastor. Thanks. I don't trust the Watcher. My friend, she had this bird.
Yes, her pet.
So
That is the same pet that that I remember seeing with the Watcher.
the best friend that I mentioned from that crossroads is this person, creature, entity, god named Haster.
It's not a name that rings,
And
but it's good to know.
they were making my friend suffer. I don't trust them, and I don't trust the bird. I think the bird is a spy. I shot the bird.
I noticed that, actually.
She's mad at me because of that, but if I see that bird again, I'll shoot it again.
I don't quite think that you can kill it, per se. It's definitely older than me, so...
Can you make me shoot better? If I was such a
I
good
believe it
shot.
took several years of your training to learn that. Yes, I don't have to like the Watcher to appreciate what they have done for me. If it wasn't for the Watcher, Redome, the Rift Watcher, or the Rift Walkers, none of them would exist. If it wasn't for them, building Sylthia wouldn't have happened. They planted the small seedling that keeps the city safe.
That tree, when my friend came into contact with something similar, she turned into essentially a big bird.
Big bird.
That's interesting.
She turned into like a big one of the...
I know that the
our
Watcher,
pet and-
the Watcher was able to do miraculous things with a tree similar to it. Unfortunately, it came at a great cost to both themselves and the tree. I believe they're able to perform strange miracles that can... I don't understand how they did it, but they used the silver tree, I believe they're called the Eshramar, to protect Redome. and to reverse some of the damage that was done there, but at the cost of corrupting that tree, and potentially losing a lot of its power. I believe that's Void Reach.
Yeah, future Astra is so much better than our Astra.
What?
Alright, let's not keep them waiting more.
Meanwhile, back downstairs, what are you guys doing?
When they're done, maybe you and May go up there and help your population. Yeah.
Ignoring that.
I mean, I can have her go. I don't know how many locks in are left either.
I will turn to Mabel and say, I forgot to mention it when we first connected again, but I think Volro may be in danger. I was in contact with him when we first arrived here, and I discovered that he was looking into Karis.
Why did we send someone who cannot report in to the rest of us?
Oh no.
Why?
It wasn't really our choice.
I haven't heard from him at all. Every time I tried to reach out, it's been silent, so this is the first time hearing about it.
He apparently discovered that Karis may have operated out of a place in the city here, the Dark Regret, and he was heading there to try to find information, but he cared not of Karis and what he may be capable of, knowingly taking the risk of going in there. And I believe if Karis was there, Volro will attempt something foolish.
He does tend to do that. We'd best go track him down then, I guess.
I need to reach out to him again.
I do think you're right. I think Karis what he's doing must be what's responsible. There's too many similarities between this ritual and what we've heard. If it truly does rip out the souls of those around it, perhaps it affects the cycle of rebirth.
Perhaps. I wonder if they're going to try to use whatever is holding Redhome in place here to reverse the spell there. And if doing that may cause Redhome to fall, which is the vision that
I believe from what I gathered, and she's just like whispering this to you, I don't think the three of their goals are aligned. At least not Karis and Garnet. They're looking for different things. I think Karis might be planning to use this device, but perhaps the removal of this device, it's helping Lady Garnet in some other way, which is what she seemed to imply. I don't think they're all after the same thing, but I do think they're working together.
is mutually beneficial to different ends.
Are any of the rest of you saying anything, doing anything? That's for Archmage.
I have a question when Staff Lady gets back.
Me too.
Xander.
I'm just standing there.
The spectre of the staff lady descends down the spiral staircase, and Timon follows shortly thereafter with a little bit of a morose look on his face.
Is he sweating?
Yeah,
Hands on rock.
I would say
Did you touch each other's staffs?
a bit dejected. I don't want to take your place in the queue, but once Tywin comes down, he is going to approach Malaria,
Malaria.
and he's going to like try to pull her to the side and talk to her a little bit.
I'm watching.
She looks and was like a little bit shaken and like shies away from you towards Calper, and like
No, I physically pull her.
like you pull her like she's away. She's like very like lightweight, and you pull her aside to.
I pull her aside, and then I look at her eyes and I say, "When I mentioned my sister, I saw you doing something."
Technically, it wasn't then. It was earlier. You just hadn't read the message. So it wasn't actually around that time.
All right.
It was earlier than that, but it wasn't after any. I'm trying to remember if it was
Go on a
around
date
any
and then move on.
specific thing, but it was around like some conversation. It was when there was like a little bit of a break where she wasn't talking much, that you heard her do that or saw her do that.
What were you doing? We are trying to be honest here.
I just needed to speak with Calther in private for a brief moment. That was all.
Inside check.
Inside check.
Oh man, I'm rolling like
You're so trusting today.
I know. Rolled a 10.
You trust her? She's saying she's doing what you said.
Get a piece.
You have no reason to doubt her.
I let go. I say, my apologies. It's
I understand, but
it's a
there's.
difficult day.
I understand. This is a lot to handle, especially for. I've been through a lot. And there's still. I'm not sure. I can trust Calthier, and he says I can trust you all, and I can trust you all, but. I honestly haven't even been around this many people in one room for a long time, so. This is a lot. I needed to talk to him about something. If it comes up, I will divulge it.
Are you safe?
I don't think so. I think there was a specific reason why Lady Garnett wanted me. And I think she might continue to do so.
Does she have a way to know where you are?
Probably. She's a powerful sorceress. I don't have anywhere near the level of protection from magic that she did. When I was near her, nobody could see where I was or contact me or anything. But
Calthier is like a brother to me.
God damn.
If you
More important than a sister.
The player did say that.
he holds you in high regard, if there's anything I can do to help, you can count on it.
you know, back home, he wasn't like this. He was always quieter, less talkative, less interested in the outside world.
Wait, this is not quiet. God damn.
Holy rats.
He only volunteered to be a seeker because this was important to him, more than anything else in the world. He wants to keep our people safe. Thank you for helping him, and thank you for keeping him safe.
Of course.
Nice. She turns away and walks
I'm gonna
back.
pull her aside.
Gunther, you just saw Megan taken aside for a bit and a little bit of a conversation that happened. Astra, what are you doing?
Is Staff Lady down yet?
Yeah, everybody's down in the same room.
I have 2 questions. One, you described Redhome, and it kind of sounds like this vision that I keep having. And it's always some variant of kind of like the same vision, where there's a tower with a dude on the tower, an island, and a purple tree.
That's not Redhome. That's Void Reach.
Void Reach? What's Void
The
Reach?
home of the Watcher. Where the Watcher took me when they
It's where you live.
saved me from the storm.
Oh,
We actually should have just
wasn't
laid
listening.
out the
Yeah.
map. We actually should have just laid out like the continent map in the middle today instead of a battle
It's that
map.
purple part.
It
down
actually
there.
would have been helpful.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
forgot.
who's the guy?
We don't have room with the guy.
Who's the guy that I keep seeing in the vision? There's a guy that's on the tower.
I imagine they're the Watcher then. If that's what you're seeing, they're there.
But how come I keep being called this Watcher? You're not like the first person that's mentioned Watcher. Is Haster the Watcher?
I have no idea. I just know that the Watcher. I don't think it's in there.
No.
I think it's on like the separate thing. Those are just the battle map.
It's alright.
We can look at it.
Yeah, we don't need it. We have the PDF or like the image.
Oh,
I don't know. All I know is the Watcher is what's keeping the Dragon Lords at bay, and what's keeping them trapped within the Chaoslands. And his power, or their power, is weakening.
This doesn't make any sense.
If it's you, then maybe it is. I do not know. All I know is they were trying to come up with a way to stop that from happening. And as much as they kept themselves secret, they kept everything hidden, they didn't reveal too much, I trust them. I trust that they are what's keeping the Dragon Lords at bay.
I don't think he trusts you. Are you hiding my detection from him?
I believe I was, unintentionally.
You're saying this all out loud, yeah?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Why?
Powerful, strange creatures. Well, first off, I did not know that that's who that was. If that is who it was, because that's kind of an assumption. I was simply protecting you from being seen by any strange magics or being spied upon.
He gets a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie.
For what it's worth, I don't trust this boy on the other side of the wall. From what you've told us and what we've heard, he doesn't seem to have your best interests at heart.
You couldn't possibly know that, though. He said he tells me that there is no wrong answer and that I'm on the right path, but then also I don't know, he just gets a little jealous.
Is it your path or his path that he's pushing you towards?
Just the path.
Right now, we can't be certain that the individual that you speak to and the individual that she was acquainted with are the same person, since they're
But Hoku,
doesn't necessarily mean anything.
That pet of yours was definitely with the Watcher. That much I know for sure.
he's not here right now because he is afraid of you and the staff.
I think... I'm not so sure that he's afraid of me. I'm more... In my brief interactions with you, they just seem protective of something that they do not know or understand. And that makes sense because I don't exist. Or I didn't until now. If I don't exist, I wouldn't trust me either. if somebody was to reach out to you, who, by all means and purposes and intents, did not exist and was just a strange voice in your head, would you trust them?
Yeah.
Told you.
She did trust a stick.
I'm very trusting of his mind and age.
That's basically what happened.
I know that the Watcher did not seem to be somebody with emotion when I interacted with them. They were cold and calculating and very much focused on, with their entire intent, on keeping the rifts shut, on keeping the Dragon Lords at bay. They said they had some plan to solve this problem.
Does the
And
line...
they asked me to trust them. And I did not have many choices.
Does the line get to Redhome and stop him mean anything to you?
I mean, Red Oak does. But I have no idea what's up there anymore.
What if I bring Hoku out and you can just tell him all that so that he's not as scared of you and put that away? Stop shooting my bird! Dragon!
Do not bring that bird. He's a spy.
He's not a spy.
He's a spy.
He's
Don't
not a
bring
spy.
the bird.
He's been with me longer than you've been with me.
That is true, lass. But I don't think that he has your best interest at heart. I think he would put us in danger.
You have no proof. You have no...
I have no proof. But I know it in my heart.
That's no reason to
He is a
shoot
riff
somebody.
walker, after all.
It's not like he's gonna die.
It's really annoying though. It take all this time to get all the components to bring him back, and then he poofs away every time you shoot him.
Ah, he does.
Why are you laughing? Stop smiling.
Sorry.
You guys are an odd bunch.
You've only
Such
seen
hostility
half of
between you
it.
guys.
Do you have any other questions?
Millions, but go ahead.
Staff lady and Theodry. I don't know if you were with our friend here at the time, but I don't really know how to say this any other way. I died, and traveling through one of those said rifts. And my friends here, I think, brought me back, but it wasn't quite me. I don't really know what's happening to me, to be honest. But when I came back, I'm going to take the gauntlet off and show them the spectral arm. This happened. And I don't know what this is.
The spectral sort of like the figure approaches you and just like takes a closer look. Fascinating.
It wasn't there before.
She does have a +10 to Arcana. She rolled a 4 though, so. How are you? You mentioned you were brought back. How are you?
I think these folks might be able to fill in the blanks, but from my understanding, they were in the Frostfang Woods and they encountered a very lovely man out there. Probably my favorite person I've encountered yet. But he took them to some sort of Fey-inspired shrine, and
That makes sense.
the water's restored.
That also makes sense.
Oh?
Fey magics are weird.
The red word? No. Wasn't that red?
So this is normal in Fey world.
Nothing is normal in the Fey world. I have no idea what happened to you.
Embermire Glade.
Oh. Okay.
But as I mentioned to
That was the
The
your friend,
Weaver. The Weaver.
we all have a destiny. You're walking yours, and I'm sure you will get to it. foot after another.
You mentioned that the Trinity needs to be stopped.
Yes.
I can assume that that includes Lady Garnet.
Those were... When I restored Theo some of his memories, I also gained, and I have learned of the three that are working together. And I know enough about Garnet to be rightly scared a little bit of her.
Is it Garnet, Karis, and Clanko?
That is what it seems, yeah.
Do you know... You said you know some of Garnet. Do you know to what end she is trying to reach?
I don't know to what end, but I know she had her own small manor here, not within the academy, but near the academy. She had a small home, perhaps might be a place to look into for seeing what she was up to. If she came here, she must have gone there. There might be some notes.
She may have fled there from the Gilded Oasis.
Perhaps.
You and Theo here, you seemed pretty intent on stopping her though. Why? What has she done that deserves this?
The research that she was doing was into the origins of the storm above us, and into the Nexus Anchor in particular, the device that powers that keeps Red Elm up there. She was also looking into potentially chronomancy and the ability to rapidly accelerate or decelerate time. Both of those were, when I established the city, very specifically, the study of chronomancy was one of the things that I outlawed for fear that it would spark further disasters like the one that happened in Red Elm. I made sure that I was the last timekeeper. Except for apparently all of those souls that got shunted into souls of some of the smartest men and women I know, ever knew, that have existed, potentially, that got shunted up there.
When I'm just speaking to all of you, when I took a moment at the shrine, when we first entered into the Silthia proper, there was the Limbari temple. She spoke to me briefly.
Your goddess?
Yes. And there was something she told me that I didn't quite understand entirely at the time, and wanted to try to wrap my head around it before sharing it. But told me of these three, not by name. She said that there was a warrior, a witch, and a craftsman. And that I already knew who the warrior was, and I thought that to be Karis. The one that troubled me was that she said the witch was a sister of a friend. And at that time I didn't really know who else it could be other than potentially Anya, which is why I wanted to better understand it before I shared this. But after our conversation today, it appears that Garnet may be a sister of Arkmir. And the last she said was that the craftsman was the will of the Eye of the Storm. And I think we've come to learn that the Eye of the Storm is Kazmarath.
We heard that from someone before. Something like, may the Eye of the Storm watch over you.
I deciphered that from the book that I got from Sparkeye. It was written in Clanko's way of speaking.
I never trusted that bastard.
And when I spoke that phrase to him once, and there was recognition from him, though he didn't really say anything in response. So I think it's safe to assume that
There's our 3.
this is all connected.
Natural one.
What was the significance of the 3?
Are you asking Derek or Calther?
Out there. Both.
The Linvari just mentioned that that I was heading in the right path, and that these 3 were of importance and needed to be stopped.
It also sounds like they have a little bit of connection with Kazmarath and
I can understand if Karis may be trying to use this device to reverse this, and Lady Garnett was trying to understand the device. She probably, or maybe doesn't care at all about what Karis is doing with Linmonum, but maybe she gains some other power or influence by what will happen with the destruction of Sylthia. And perhaps if that device is removed and Redhome comes crashing down, it perhaps would release Kazmarath along with it, which
Yeah.
Klanko may want.
he is trying to find a way out. He made that very clear when we encountered him.
You mentioned that Kazmarath was an artificer of sorts. Did he create Klanko?
Could very well be. He made
Klanko has
all sorts
mentioned
of
wanting to meet his creator.
all sorts of constructs, contraptions, systems.
I think it's safe to assume if they complete whatever task
the-
they're set out to do,
one of the best.
this world, not just Sylthia, is in grave peril.
Theo. All I know from what Lady Garnett has been doing over this time period has been she has a strange obsession and fascination with sending things into the storm. I believe she has sent magical artifacts into the storm. I believe she has sent an entire ward of a city into a storm, along with some of her accomplices from the Midnight Guard in Schema.
What are they?
Yep. She's
We met
Sent.
somebody who came back from that.
she was part of the group responsible for that. I believe she worked with some agents and contacts that she had in Ryoga's to
Galadin.
facilitate that. It served them multiple purposes. One was to further her own political gain in Schema, but also to inadvertently send much of the contraption that would have powered one of Schema's spires into the Chaoslands. I don't know why.
I feel like we need to find Lady
I
Garnett.
mean, weren't the spires
Take her
powered
broom.
by the pieces
Shards
of
of
the tree?
Mithril.
Mm-hmm.
Did she succeed in that? In sending one of those?
I don't know. She kept me very closely watched when I was with her in Schema. I wasn't really able to follow any trails, and I was mostly on the hunt for Karis. These are just things that I discovered over time.
Speaking of the storms, how come I don't get hurt by them?
I don't know. But the storms are dangerous, and this Tisha. I don't know. But the storms are dangerous, and in particular, Timon, I wish to speak with you. Maybe
Privately
Alone
upstairs.
again.
perhaps not in private this time. This ability that you have, obviously, something has granted you your abilities. I've seen you use them in combat and elsewise. The storms are both a blessing and a curse. I'm sure you've noticed the repeated use of the lightning magic drastically shortens lifespan.
Alright.
You should be mindful about when you're using this, for lack of a better term. It could have grave consequences for you.
You know, we came across this shaman, whatever the hell he was. It was called Kutman, from one of the tribes of the desert, the Notch clan. Notch. And he had this ring, which I presented to my friend here, that granted some protection, some warden. I also noticed that the blue crystals, like the one that Dio has, seem to help. I was going to ask Dio, can we get more of these crystals? I wonder if that would help me.
No can do. There aren't too many of them out in the wild. I'm honestly surprised you have one anyway.
We have to.
Oh. That's good to know. Yeah, they're not. These crystals are found in Icefall, and they're refined from explorers who travel within the lake, in the center of the city, discovered them in long forgotten ruins. But there weren't very many of them. There were only maybe 500 or so. And they formed the majority of the Ordo Draconis. Soldiers were granted a handful of them in order to drastically improve their abilities in combat or grant them powers beyond mortal ken. I don't know what the nature of these crystals was, but I know it does help keep folks safe from the storms. I personally have never been into one. It's mostly just in case a storm happens upon me, I can survive.
Tisha, when I set out from my hometown, I was 94 years old. I feel much older than that now. Can you tell me how much I have aged?
I don't think there's a spell that does that.
Identify.
Detect
Maybe.
Detect age.
I don't know if the
Detect
age.
So used by bouncers.
I'm just gonna make an Arcana check. Pretty high. I don't necessarily know the age ranges of Doru, but it's definitely, there's something. The storms have been affecting you in other ways. I have seen you look taller than any dwarf that I've ever seen in my life.
Last time I grew, I didn't shrink all the way back down.
Yes. From what I know, the storms are the embodiment of pure chaos, unbridled destruction, change, and honestly, I don't think any mortal body can contain as much chaos energy as you've already been using. So,
Why can't I? I started seeing these runes on the lightnings.
I think that might be part of the universe trying to correct itself.
Does anybody else see runes in the storms? I mean, I think we You saw some.
Yeah, I think. At all points, I think. Well, all of us maybe at some point or another. So.
Mm-hmm.
You know of Agonaz?
Hagen does.
Aye. Well,
I believe he expresses himself through the storm. He's the, no offense to several of you, he's one of the gods that takes the most active action to keep Revenant the way it is. Perhaps he had something to do with it.
how can I find out more? Is there a church?
His church is the storm.
Okay, that's deep.
If this church is a storm, how do I speak with God?
I hate to keep saying this, especially to you who has so much that he's chasing after. But you are following a path. If you follow it to its conclusion, to live his tenets, to burn bright, as short as it may be, perhaps you'll find out.
Was I still alive when I was?
It's an interesting question because the way that the Riftwalkers worked was to send people, in many cases, out on missions, and especially my group, because I was the leader. Mine was one of the few groups that operated alone in some sense. I would send Theo off on a mission. I would send you off on a mission. You would eventually come back. I don't know what you were up to or what the last mission was that I sent you on.
And how many Riftwalkers were there? Was it just the three of us?
No. There was about a dozen groups of 3.
Who else?
I'm not sure if I can or should tell you any names, because I do not know what their paths are, and if you come across them from the future without realizing who they were, or if they are still out there's a lot that could... Let's just cut it short here. There's... Look, maybe they don't even exist in this world anymore. Maybe they were erased when I was erased, and I don't know what happened. I know in many cases I've given you more questions than answers.
You have, like, if my sister is me, and somebody who knew me might know my sister. You give me one name.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
On this front, something I've been trying to figure out, and it's taken me a while, but I may have found something that could work, is to be able to scry on an individual, similar to what has happened with us in the past, to see someone, see where they are, regardless of where they are. And I may have figured out how to do it, but for a while I needed a way to harness a catalyst for the spell that I didn't exactly know what could do it, but... And I'll pull out the crystal ball that we got from, I won't say it, but the one that Teddy left in the storm that we saw, that we looked through to see the thing. I believe this could help me with that, and I may be able to see Anya.
Would you be able to message her too?
Potentially.
I would like that very much.
I may be able to do the scry tomorrow. I just need to.
All right.
I would need to prepare for it.
Do you need something of her?
That would help. Obviously you've described her time and time again, and you showed, I think you had like a little picture or painting or something of her that you showed once.
I have that, and I have this, and I take the scarf off.
All of this would be useful. You can hold on to it until tomorrow. But I just wanted to let you know that it's something I've been working on, and I may be able to attempt it.
I think that's probably, in this lull of the conversation, a good spot to end for this session. Let's give people a chance to think and ruminate and come up with more questions. And also, Arkmir has to go.
Save car.
Save his car. So, lots of questions, lots of answers.
Goddamn lore drops.
Xander's more confused
I
than
know.
ever.
I still wanted to.
Xander,
Oh, by the way,
do you want your mind erased?
we need you. We need you.
just erase my mind and send me on my way. I'll be totally cool.
We need you to help fight people.
You were
before
supposed to
leave.
come here for a reason. You
I
certainly did.
I would like to, still investigate Limbonum and maybe
Alright.
find anyone from my group.
Yeah, we'll pick up.
Walker.
We'll pick up next time.
Time and is
Here
on
in the
you.
alcove.
Bye.